Hi everyone, this is Prashad Parthiban. Today we are going to see what do you mean by insuring agreements in property and casualty insurance. In the last two sessions, we have seen what do you mean by declaration and what do you mean by definitions, and the third part is insuring agreement. This is a kind of heart of the entire policy document, so it's very important you show more kind of concentration in this session. So, what do you mean by insuring agreement by definition? It's nothing but the promises, the core promises that the insurance company makes to the insured. When I say promises, all they say is, if you want homeowners policy, we will cover different coverages like property coverage, liability coverage, etc., right? Plus, along with the coverages, the insurance company is also going to say perils, right? Different perils is otherwise called as cause of loss. Example, if you take homeowners policy, the cause of loss could be fire, theft, etc. Most of you know, in a case of homeowners or commercial property, you have basic form, broad form, special form, right? Basic and broad form is going to include the perils exclusively, whereas special will not include the perils, whereas it will say what are the exclusions. Basically, special is a kind of form that is broader than basic and broad. Now, it's very important you go through the perils to understand what cause of losses are covered in your policies. The second element is coverages. As I told you, what kind of coverages you basically have, right? What kind of liability coverages you have, what kind of property coverages you have, all those things will be very explained in a detailed manner. Limits, right? Overall limits, for each individual coverages and etc. will be very clearly given in the insuring agreements. And deductibles by location, by policy, or if you have any state level deductibles or any specific coverage level deductibles, everything will be available in the insuring agreement. Conditions, right? Like most of you know, even though insurance company is giving you coverages, there are some conditions that the customer has to abide, right? Example, if you have a loss, you need to report your claim within 30 days, right? Like if you don't do that, your claim will not be processed. So you need to go through the condition session to make sure that as a customer, you are going to satisfy those conditions to have a legitimate claim. Exclusions, right? Very important. Most of the people do not go through the exclusions, and during the claim processing, you have or you came to know that this policy don't have coverage for the exposure that you had. So whenever you have a policy, it's very important you go through the perils, you go through the coverages, and the same kind of concentration have to be given to exclusions. For example, any loss due to war is not covered, right? Any loss due to some different conditions will not be covered. So it's very important you need to go through the exclusions to make sure that there is no gap in the coverage. Endorsement. Basically what will happen is your basic policy will have core coverages. Maybe if you take homeowners policy, it will have a liability coverage that covers your liability exposures and property coverage. Maybe the homeowners may not cover flood or earthquake. So you need to add them as an endorsement to your policy if you have a specific exposure. So in short, insuring agreement is heart of the policy. It is going to have details like what you are seeing here. And it's very important you as a customer or broker go through this to make sure there is no gap in the policy. Thank you once again for your continuous support. Have a great day. Bye-bye.